The American squad, there is some of the Australians all together there on the right-hand side. The Italian squad, who have taken a stance on anti-doping and have not selected any rider at all who has been in any way linked with any doping scandal. Right, the riders then are underway. It is 10:45. There's a long, long way to go. 267 kilometres. The Irish team all at the back, taking things a little bit steady this morning as they roll out to get underway along the banks of the river. There is the Tour de France winner, right at the front with Mark Cavendish. A proud moment, I can imagine, for Cavendish, knowing that a year ago he won the world title. A lot of smiles between those two riders. In that British team today, Stephen Cummings, Alex Dowsett, Luke Rowe, Ian Stannard, Ben Swift, Brad Wiggins we've mentioned, Mark Cavendish, and one rider who many people are mentioning as a possible winner of this World Championship. And to be honest, as a British commentator and knowing all these riders very well, if he pulled this off, it would be the biggest shock of the last decade. John Tiernan-Locke, who rides for the continental team of Enduro Racing, but has won this year Hot VAR, Tour of the Med, just won the Tour of Britain. But if he was up there, and there he is just behind Alex Dowsett, if he was up here at the finish and he beat Valverde and everybody else, it would be a massive shock. Circuit in Geelong, and actually almost lap the field. We are heading now towards the start. It's not always that you get to see the first rollout of any race. 200 metres now till the start. And then what is good about the World Championships is we get the chance to actually see what happens at the start of a race. And we hear often that there are massive attacks. It's very, very fast. When you look at a stage of the Tour de France, for example, it is normally fast, fast, fast until the right combination of riders goes. And Radio Tour now saying that this race is about to be started. 267 kilometres, 207 riders, and here we go. The official start now of the World Championship Road Race 2012. And immediately we have the first attack of the day. Two riders making their way off the front, looking to get their time in the lead. And the professional rider from Caharal off the front, one rider from Azerbaijan immediately going with the move. A little bit of a headwind as we get started. And the Azerbaijan rider is Asadov, wearing number 203. A couple more riders just joining in on the attack. And nations who have got only one rider will obviously have to just track around. Mark Cavendish immediately on the front, looking to bring things back together. So the world champion doing a team role today, and he has said he's looking forward to riding for John Tiernan-Locke. I wonder whether they will be riding for Stephen Cummings today, who won that stage of the Vuelta a España. Just to run through some of the other teams, let's run through the Australian team then, with Simon Clark, the king of the mountains in the Vuelta a España. Alan Davis, bronze medalist in 2010. They've got a really strong team here. Adam Hansen, who is the 32nd rider to complete 3 Grand Tours in a year. Simon Gerrans, the winner of Milano-San Remo, been on form recently. Heinrich Hausler, who has just signed for a new team, I Am Swiss. Attack at the front here for Bert Lindemann of the Netherlands. More bits of stretching going on here. Cavendish looks around to see what's going on. And this rider continuing with the attack at the front. another Dutch rider. Obviously, because we're in the Netherlands, the Dutch riders are going to want to get right in every single move there is going. As we see the attack from the United States of America, and that is Alex Howes at the front of this race now in the Stars and Stripes of the USA. Fast pace already, as you can see, and this is exactly what happens at the start of the big pro bike races. Constant attacks as everyone looks around. They want to make sure they get in the right move. France represented towards the front as well. Just to update you, and I'll keep you updated a little bit, the junior race is going on. They're approaching the 80-kilometre point. They haven't actually got that far to go. Leaders, just to recap for you: Valeri Butts on the right hand side, Dario Cataldo on the left hand side for Italy, Howes and Duggan of the United States of America. To all of you for joining me for these World Road Race Championships, as things settle down now and the 11 riders continue with their workload. Thanks very much for your messages, really appreciate them as we get to the first hour and a half of what is going to be a long race today. 267 kilometres of racing. The next climb on the horizon is the Puttberg, and that is coming up at 65 kilometres. We're not too far away. We're heading towards that now. And the Russian rider at the back is Isayev, just glancing across. He looks pretty comfortable. Number 57 making his way up towards the front is Tim Duggan. The other rider who rides for Garmin Sharp is Howes, who is towards the front as well. And the Slovenian rider wearing 116 is Mezdek. Slovenia with the lime green, white and blue kit. Lastras policing this for the later moves, I'm sure, of in particular Rodriguez and Valverde. The Ukrainian rider at the front, Valeri Butts, rides, I think, for Caja Rural. He does. Number 145 there at the back is Valeri Butts. As the peloton look like they have settled down a little now. So we're hearing a few punctures at the back of this peloton now. As you can see, though, the crowds are massive today. Mark Cavendish still on the front of the group. The gap now grows again to 4 minutes and 38 seconds, as you can see. Lastras is the Spanish rider on the back of the group, as 3 British riders sit at the front: Mark Cavendish, Ian Stannard, Alex Dowsett. Stannard has done so many kilometres of racing this year. Cavendish has a shout to the motorbike. They have got a little bit close at times on some of these corners. 200 kilometres to go. There's a welcome sign. Pretty windy up here, as Tim Duggan of the United States of America sits on the back of the group, racing past the Stars and Stripes flag. Jerome Coppel of Sauer Sojasun. Coppel has just ridden a Tour of Britain. Strong rider, pretty windy, but these riders are not hanging around, are they? The 22-year-old winner Anacona is the Colombian rider who's in this group. Interesting story about him is that his father was a big fan of Peter Winnen, who rode for the TI Rally team back in the 70s. And his father went to register winner Anacona as when he was born. He wanted to call him Winnen. He got the spelling wrong, and ever since he's been called Winner. So he was supposed to be named after his favourite bike rider, Peter Winnen. Unfortunately, he ended up as winner Anacona, which of course is a great name for a bike rider. Mark Cavendish on the front of the group. Thomas Volkler sitting towards the front now. Belarus also represented towards the front of this race, with I think it's Kuczynski who's sitting towards the front. The Moldovan, who we've seen a few times so far, just tucked in on the wheel, staying out of any trouble. Mark Cavendish putting in a massive training ride today. Haven't seen him ever do this amount of work on the front of a peloton. Normally he is the rider who sits on the wheels, powers out, takes the win. Today he's pretty much done the first 70 Ks on the front of the peloton. But who says Cavendish can't climb? I can imagine he, last night in the hotel, as we go down this descent, the British riders went onto the Sky bus, which was parked in our car park. They all went on there, had a team meeting for half an hour, led by Rod Ellingworth, and also Sean Yates was on there. They obviously agreed what the plan was. They came out in little groups, Cavendish with Tin and Locke and Alex Dowsett. Brad Wiggins was left on the bus for a little while with Chris Froome. They then left. But they went on there. They obviously agreed what the plan was going to be. And they obviously agreed that at some point they were going to ride pretty much on the front of this peloton. Maybe they have something in mind. The rider wearing number 201 there is, of course, the Irish rider we saw crash earlier on, Ronan McLaughlin, one of the lesser-known riders in this Irish team. Only 3 riders selected. Dan Martin of Garmin Sharp, who's extended his contract, and Nicholas Roach, who's just fresh, if fresh is the right word, out of the Vuelta a España. So just to remind you, 106 kilometres of racing to the circuit, 10 laps of 16 kilometres. is what the riders then face. Thanks very much for your messages. I know some of you have sent me some tweets. Some are more interesting than others, but all are being read and all are giving me some insights. Thank you very much to all of you for taking the time to join me and see how this race unfolds over the entire 267 kilometres of racing. Of course, for Liquigas Cannondale, which will be called Cannondale Racing from next season. They're taking over the title sponsorship of the Italian squad. Back of the team cars. Tim Duggan will be moving from memory to the team of Spider Tech for 2013. He comes from Boulder in Colorado, ridden for Liquigas for the last 2 seasons. He is previously a member of the Garmin squad. But Great Britain all on the front of the group. A similar picture to what we saw in Copenhagen last year, a blaze of red, white and blue on the front of this group. They're doing an awful lot of work, considering that they don't have in their mind an overall winner for this race, unless they are firmly believing that John Tiernan Locke can win this world title, which, as I have said before, it would be a complete and utter shock. Back to the front with a Saishev in his aero tuck. Tim Duggan, who is the national champion of the United States of America. If you look at his bike, it's got all the stars and stripes on it. But the peloton now led by the entire Great Britain team, apart from Ian Stannard, followed by the team of France, followed by various different squads. There is the... oh, that's a magnificent train. If you're a train spotter, now is the time to not turn away. The steam train there on the top of the road takes us back to some ancient times. He's even going to blow his whistle for the peloton. Been watching for the last few days, and I hope you have. You'll now realise that the riders are on the road that goes along the top, and then they go plunging down faster descent. Mike Sayers is the team director in the car with Tim Duggan. Sayers looks after the BMC team. They're going to go along the top, and then, Sophie, they go plunging down this descent. The riders will do 75 to 80 k's an hour. Then they turn left into the descent of at the bottom of the descent onto the Kauberg. Lastras just stretching a little, taking his both feet out the pedals, and you've been staying down at the bottom of the Kauberg with the atmosphere. They're going to hit it in about 2 minutes' time. What is the atmosphere down there like?
It's amazing, and it's been getting bigger and better every day of the competition. I think last night at 8 o'clock it was like Melbourne on New Year's Eve. It was insane. And I actually asked a waiter at dinner, I said, is it normally like this? And he said no, and he's actually quite scared about what the crowds would be like today. Because once they're there, they don't leave. They're there to watch a race and they're there to party.
So Melbourne on New Year's Eve is pretty much the place to be. All right, we're racing down the descent now. We'll guide you through here, then we'll get Sophie's views on the rest of the Australian team and then what might happen in the rest of this race. But we are about to hit the Kauberg for the first time with the leading group of 11 riders. They've done the lead out to the course. Here we are. We turn over this speed bump left left, and then as the camera pans back, look at this. There are people everywhere. The atmosphere is incredible. It is a little bit alcohol-fueled. The bars have been busy. The atmosphere has been growing. There are people from all over the world here, and as we hit the climb, you can just see there is no space to stand. There is no place to watch. Every single vantage point on the Cowberg is taken. They're going to go up here. They're going to go through the finish line for the first time, and then they will have 10 laps of 16.1 kilometres to go. The rider on the front, the unusually named winner, Anacona, as we mentioned earlier, his dad wanted to call him and name him after Peter Winnen, and he got his name wrong on the birth certificate, and they call him Winner. But maybe he'll be a winner today, you never know. But look at that, the Cowberg has got an incredible amount of people on it as these riders hit it for the first time. Then you'll be able to see the run-in, this 1.7 kilometres, which is maybe why the punchy riders like Rodriguez, John Tiernan Locke, other riders like Valverde may not win, because it's 1.7 kilometres from the top to the finish line. But the atmosphere for the rest of this race is going to be absolutely incredible. You said it was like Melbourne on New Year's Eve. There isn't anywhere to stand, is there? This is pretty amazing.
No, and they don't leave either. They're there for the whole race, after the race, and then some. There a lot of Belgian fans on the Cowberg early this morning, and all of them actually took Mbona, not Philippe Gilbert, who is one of my picks. So it was a fair bit of support for that national team there.
So the Australians then, they're obviously all riding for Gerrans. They've all bought into the plan of riding for him today, or is there anyone you think might be an outsider that, if things don't go quite right, might be there?
I understand that it's all for Gerrans, and he's their best shot at a medal, and I think they'll put all of their resources behind him. And they've actually got quite a strong team here at full quota, which I guess the nation is almost used to now. But you've got Simon Clark there, who's in good form. He won stage at the Vuelta recently. Alan Davis, Adam Hansen, who actually should mention, has raced all 3 Grand Tours.
Yeah, amazing.
This season, as we've been talking about here during the week. And Wesley Solsberger from Tasmania, he actually substituted Michael Rogers, who had to withdraw from illness. And Rogers actually tweeted this morning, this is the first time in 14 years he's missed a World Championship.
Really? Wow. That's some bit of history.
A strong team, and as I said, a mix of youth and experience there. Michael Matthews is another one. He's joining the Oracle Green Edge squad next season, and he's a handy sort of classics rider as well. He can sprint, but not a pure sprinter.
So the riders now will guide them through the line. Then I'm going to ask you, before you leave, for your tip of the day. But we'll guide these riders through the finish line first for the first time. Great Britain all on the front with one Belgian rider joining in the chase. Mark Cavendish is going to lead the peloton onto the circuit as the defending world champion. I think it's safe to say that Cavendish will not defend his title. He is doing all the work on the front for Great Britain today, with a team of Steve Cummings, Dowsett, Froome, Rowe, Stannard, Swift, Tiernan Locke and Brad Wiggins. Have they got a plan? Have they been bluffing? Is it all about Brad Wiggins winning the World Championship? Do they believe in John Tiernan Locke? Right, for the first time then, the 11 leaders, led by Tim Duggan, winner Anacona, Alex Howes, Dario Cataldo. The first 4 riders there at the front of this group are heading towards the finish line to enter the circuit properly. They will then glance across and they will see 10 laps of racing to go. 160 odd kilometres left in this race, and Lastras is the rider who really pressed on with this breakaway. 2 hours 27 minutes is approaching. The fans are enjoying this. They get to see the riders for the first time, and it is now 10 laps to go as the Uruguayan rider Ferrari was the first rider across the line, and then we'll see what the time gap is to the rest of the peloton. So they're going to go across here through the feed, which is a little bit risky, a little bit dangerous. The peloton flying their way down the descent. You can see the pace is pretty rapid. And let's put you on the spot then, Sophie. Who is going to win the World Championship?
You know what, I've actually said Gilbert since February because he earmarked his massive goal there and just had that sound that he really wanted to win it. But I'm definitely, as I said before, would be surprised if Gerrans isn't on the podium as well.
So you think it's going to be Gilbert?
I think it's going to be Gilbert.
You think it's going to be Gilbert? Just saw the Chilean rider puncture on that descent at about 75 k's an hour as the Great Britain riders lead onto the climb of the Cowberg. You've got to be really careful, haven't you? Gerrans has got to ride near the front all the time now because this circuit's fast and you hit the Cowberg so often. It's around within 20 minutes a lap.
It is, and it is a fast circuit. That's what we've heard from everyone that's raced it so far. There's an area around the back that could possibly be exposed. But apart from that, the roads are very smooth, so positioning will be important here.
Well, it's a magnificent sight, isn't it?
It is.
Goosebumps. Pretty exciting. Leading group race down the Cowberg in the rain now, and this is going to really change the race. The gaps are starting to shut. Onto the Cowberg again as the leading group of 11 riders try to stay away. Smoothless accelerates up the climb. This time at the finish line, they'll be shown 5 laps of racing to go. Through the rain for the Latvian time trial champion, Smoothless. The gap on the climb now is 12 seconds. So we are going to see the 2 leading groups come together. And I think then we'll see some fireworks. Smoothless accelerating at the front of this race. Looks easy, but the peloton now hit the bottom of the Cowberg, which means that the contenders are bringing this race back together at the perfect time. Belgium lead, the Netherlands, Great Britain, the United States of America. Chris Horner now has taken his leg warmers off with 5 laps to go. This is going to be an exciting race. This is the chasing group, the leading group, working their way up the climb, followed by the chasers on the steep section, led by Shah Fuglsang, Juan Antonio Fleischer, Maxime Bouet, Stephen Cummings, Michael Matthews, Nocentini. But behind them, this is where the race is. Alberto Contador going with John Tiernan Locke. This is an incredible move as John Tiernan Locke tracks Alberto Contador up the climb. What a move. Behind them, the Tour de France winner, Bradley Wiggins, has blown. He's had enough. Great Britain have done what they can do for the young British rider, John Tiernan Locke. And now they're going to leave him to see if he can contend with Alberto Contador, the winner of the Vuelta a España. It's an incredible run-in. Stephen Cummings has done the work that he needed to do, which was to go in the breakaway and wait for Tiernan Locke to go when he had to. So at the front now, Alberto Contador attacks with John Tiernan Locke. This is absolutely incredible. Now we've got Vogler going as well. Brad Wiggins looking here. He's had enough. He's got 5 laps to go. He's going to retire. And at the front of this race, while it ignites, Smoothless leads. This race is all about to explode. Smoothless has had the doctor today, and he's holding his stomach. Froome is now dropped at the back of the race as well. Radio Tour telling us that this race is exploding. Wiggins has gone. Froome has now gone as well. But at the front, it's the winner of the Vuelta a España who is igniting this race. Alberto Contador, John Tiernan Locke, Thomas Vogler. Froome has had enough now. It's one race too many as all the leading groups come together. But now France look around and they see Vogler with Contador, with John Tiernan Locke also up at the front. It's what an amazing race this is turning out to be. The gap now as they head towards the line. This time round, they are going to be shown 5 laps to go, and the cream has risen to the top. Contador is there, Tiernan Locke is there, Smoothless is there, Vogler is there. One Italian, which I think is Moreno Moser, is in the group as well. What what a race this is turning out to be. So as they race through with 5 laps to go, it's an elite group of riders who are going away. 4 hours, 22 minutes of racing. The gap is starting to open, and it is France with Jerome Coppel of Sauer Sojusan who is leading as they go past my commentary box. To me, John Tiernan Lock looks very, very easy indeed for Great Britain. Also in the group is Michael Matthews of Australia, Stephen Cummings of Great Britain. 29 riders in the leading group. The Australians have missed this one completely. They now need to chase, as to Belgium. But decade, John Tiernan Lock.